Welcome to Get Yourself into Kami. In this session, we'll focus on how high school teachers and students can use Kami to make education better. Before we get started, let me introduce myself. My name is Estee Williams. I was the 2020 Kami Hero of the Year. I'm also an educational technology coach in Beaufort, South Carolina in the United States. In my role as a tech coach, I work with students and teachers at integrating technology. But before I was a tech coach, I was a teacher in the classroom. For 11 years, I taught high school math. And I know that when I was in the classroom, I was always on the lookout for technology that was going to make teaching and learning better. Kami is definitely one of those tools. And Kami Connect is all about showing you many and diverse ways that Kami can make teaching and learning better. But what does better look like during a pandemic when you're trying to teach high school students? Well, one thing that I think is very important is connection. And that's not just because this is Kami Connect and I like to pander to a theme. It's because if you're connected and your students are connected, learning is going to happen. And I'm not talking about high-speed internet connection. I'm talking about the human connection, getting yourself into your lessons and getting your students back. I know that that can be particularly difficult if you're teaching high school, but that makes it all the more important. So that's what I'm going to share with you today, some tips for connection and getting yourself into your lessons and getting yourself into Kami. So let's get started with thinking about how you can get yourself into design. Now, you probably know that with Kami, you can open a document, Word file, Google Slides, and assign it to your students, and they can annotate on it. But beyond that, you can actually use the Kami Split and Merge tool to select multiple documents, both from your Google Drive and your computer, and you can pick and choose your pages. You can, let's say you have a document and you have the answer key. Well, we all know we don't want our students to have the answer key, so you can just drag out the pages that aren't the answer key. But it might be more than that. Maybe you've created a guided note sheet in Word and you want to merge that with a PDF practice worksheet. You can take those two documents with Split and Merge and create that perfect document to put your spin on what your students are going to be doing. Let's say that once you get that document into Kami, it doesn't look exactly like you want it. Well, you can use the rectangle tool, make a white outline, make a white fill, and now you can cover up the stuff that you don't want. You can use a text box to create your own instructions for your students so that you're putting your own spin, your own style, and packaging the document exactly how you want to package it. I know I used to do that myself with the copy machine and like white paper and whiteout, but now you can do it right here within Kami. Once you have extra stuff on the page, you can use that Select Annotations tool to click, hold, and drag to draw a box around your annotations, and you can move everything all at once. So it really makes it easy to design your document in a way that's gonna make sense for you and your high school students. So let's take a look at an example of a document that's been split and merged and edited a little bit to be packaged a certain way. I'm gonna digress for a moment because you're gonna get access to this presentation. And so as you're looking through it, you may see some different links that you can download PDFs with. So you're gonna click the link, click again to open it, and you're gonna have this Google Drive file. So to download that file, if you don't see the download icon, click the three dots. Then click download, and you'll see the document go right there into your downloads bar. Use your little Kami extension to open Kami, and then simply drag the PDF from your download bar right there to drop and open. And I'm gonna use a new copy here. This is a little trick I do. I know that when I'm teaching high school, I have multiple sections, same class. I wanna open my document over and over, and I like to use Kami as my own interactive whiteboard. So I'll always download and open a new copy so that I can get a fresh, clean, blank slate with my students. So here in this document, you can see this was a PDF from a generic sort of graphic organizer packet here, and I pulled this page, and I added, instead of a white box, I have a picture here, so I just inserted the picture over the little graphic organizer logo there, and I even added a page because this didn't have enough. I wanted to go beyond what was in this document. So at the bottom, you have this plus sign where you can add all sorts of different pages. You can add grid paper, you can add blank paper, you can add line paper, you can even add music sheets if you want to. So you can add any types of pages to your paper that you want to, and you can really make sure that the document is reflective of the way that you want to present the material to your high school students. You may have noticed that I used an image and there were some videos present there. Well, That's because with Kami, you can insert media from all kinds of places. You can bring in pictures from your computer or your Google Drive. You can bring in videos from your computer or your Google Drive. And you can even do a Google search right here within Kami for whatever images you may need without leaving Kami. Additionally, you can search for YouTube videos, again, right here within Kami without leaving Kami. So you can enhance your document in a way that is going to speak to your students. Of course, you know your students best and you know what's going to appeal to them and catch their attention. So we're going to look at a hyperdoc that utilizes some of those things. We have an image here. We have some YouTube videos all added just by using this add media. And then I used a Google search to find my coordinate plane. I used YouTube to find these videos and I just inserted them right into my document here. As I scroll down, you can see there's other things like links to outside websites, which you can use the text box to add these items in, just using that link tool. Math teachers, of course, it has mathematical functions that you can add in, which is really nice. So you can add to any existing document, package this document, and really show your own personal style to your students in the digital world as you would just in your regular classroom. If your document is a little more crowded, like this one from a music teacher, well, she didn't have space to add pictures and videos. So what she did is use the comment tool with the text comment. She pasted in a YouTube link so that when her students clicked here, the video pops up on the right. They can play it and get a feel for how a muted brass instrument would sound. She also added in some directions down here for her students. So she took this document that was a PDF and was able to enhance it and really show how she would be in the classroom presenting this content to her students instead of just this little fact sheet for them to read. So you have this document, you have it packaged and kind of enhanced a little bit, but what about adding some instruction to it? What about getting yourself into the instruction? YouTube videos are great, but they're not you. Kami allows you to add video comments. So if I click comments and click video comments, I can record a video of myself. It might just be explaining the directions. It might be a mini lesson that students can watch over and over. Whatever the case is, it's you giving the instruction. And that is so important for connection. Likewise, you can add voice comments, so if you're not feeling camera ready, or if you just want to read multiple lines of text to your students using the voice comments, that's a great way to put yourself into the instruction, and it's you they're going to be hearing. We're going to take a look at an example from a world language class. So in this case, the teacher, me in this case, has the question. The student can listen.
¿Cuántas manzanas hay?
And then the student would record a response. But all throughout, instead of, just imagine, you're a world language teacher, you give your students this worksheet and they read it and they write the answers. They're never getting to hear it and they're never getting the chance to practice speaking it while they're doing this. So along with the written component, you can add in your voice so that they can really get a feel for how that pronunciation should be. That can help them with their confidence when they're pronouncing it later on. Additionally, this worksheet is basically saying a question of how many whatevers are there, and then the answer, there are whatever, however many. So you can see this first picture just has 3 students in it, and they'll fill in according to 3 students. But later, you can see there's a picture of me holding 2 pencils. You can see that there, if they click this bubble, there's a video of me showing them some chalk and pieces of chalk.
Pieces of chalk.
So they will base their answers not just on random pictures of random people that I found on the internet, but videos and pictures of me as the teacher right there with them in the lesson. So putting myself into instruction is really a way to encourage my students to feel connected to me and to learn my teaching style. Something else that you can use, another type of comment tool that you might want to use, and I know this is going to appeal to math teachers, this is a math example here, but is the screen capture tool. So you can actually record your screen right here from within Kami, and you can show an example of yours right here without leaving Kami. So your students are going to be able to see you doing the problem right here on the page that they're looking at. But it's not just for math, and it's not just for staying within Kami. You can use the screen capture tool to record outside applications like PowerPoint or Keynote. So if you teach something outside of math, but you want to put your presentation here right along with the practice and questions that your students may be answering, you can record your screen and record that lesson right from within Kami. So no better way to get yourself into the instruction into Kami documents than using these video, voice, and screen capture tools. But it's not just about designing the lesson, because then your students are going to do it and then you're going to have to review it, right? So we want to get you into the feedback too. We want to make those connections with your students within feedback. So you can use voice and video comments so that you can give efficient feedback, but also connect with your students. And we know that this is kind of important for high school students because they themselves are a little hesitant to put themselves out there, put themselves on video, record their voice. So by you doing this, not only in your lessons, but in the feedback, it can really help them gain confidence. Plus, they can learn a lot more about your expectations by listening to you and watching the video of your feedback to them than they could if they were just reading the written word on the page. Providing both types of modalities is going to be so important for your students. Also, if you're using Google Classroom, you want to check that box that says Grade with Kami, because that's going to open up those same tools for connecting with your students within Google Classroom grading. And I know that if you're using Canvas or Schoology, whatever LMS integration you have, you'll be able to grade with Kami through that learning management system. So make sure that you are checking for that and that you're doing that so that you have these tools available to you as you are providing feedback to your students. Also, and I know I said I taught high school, I know I said I taught AP statistics, but let me tell you, a high schooler loves a sticker just like any student does. And Kami has stickers. In the add media section, there's actually an icon for stickers. And so you can choose a sticker. Now, Kami hasn't officially said this, but I'm just going to put it out there and maybe they'll make it come true that they'll have different packs available as different seasons come around. So you'll have different stickers that you can add to your document. As much as I love the Kami dog and the stickers that come with him, I also really like to make my own custom stickers for students. And the way that I do this is a little bit of a hack. With the signature tool in Kami, you can click the signature tool and there you can add your own signature, of course, but you can also upload images. And this includes GIFs, this includes Bitmojis. So if you really want to connect with your students and use a sticker to do that when you're providing feedback, you can definitely use those Bitmoji stickers in the signature tool as a way to do that. So just sharing a little bit more of yourself through the feedback and also giving them, a little bit of humor and letting them see your personality a little bit through that as well. So we also want your students to get into the learning process. We want your students to get into Kami so that they can show their learning and they can show that they are processing and synthesizing these complex courses that you're teaching them in high school. So one of the ways that we might want to do that is through the mini creation tools of Kami, because Kami allows you to, in a simple way, just use drawing tools. There's nothing more simple as far as creation than drawing, but what they can create, and this is an example of sketch notes. So if you're not familiar with sketch notes, basically students listen to a lesson and instead of writing notes in a written format, they actually draw pictures so that they are not just jotting down information, but they're actually listening and synthesizing their learning as they go. If you need to learn more about sketch notes, take a look at the link that's on this page and you can learn more. But I want to show you some examples. This came from a history class, social studies class, from the teacher, Miss Hill, and her students were listening to a lecture about the Civil War military strategies. And you can see that they all have different artistic styles, but they were all synthesizing the same things. You can see that they have Fort Sumter. You can see that they have the H.L. Hunley there. So the same key points that the teacher was making through her lesson are shown through this illustration. And by the students creating this themselves with Kami, creating digital sketch notes using the drawing tools, they really are able to show their learning. So in this case, the teacher is asking them to watch a video and then they're going to click here to listen to her instructions. So actually, this is the teacher using screen capture.
All right, guys, so what you are going to do for this part of the assignment is first you're going to watch this video on how, or model for you how you're going to do that.
So not only is she providing an example here using that screen capture tool, not only is she hitting on the content to show her students, taking risks, saying that she's not really the best drawer, but she's going to draw. So she's really, opening herself up to the students and asking for them to then be creative themselves and giving them room to be creative, using these drawing tools to draw the stages of formation of the Earth's atmosphere. So we know that if we have high school students, a lot of the times they are hesitant to do anything artistic. And so by the way that she set this up, it really is empowering her students and hopefully making them get a little bit of ownership and demonstrating their understanding here. But it's not just that we want our students to create, right? We also want them to do other things like communicate with us. And so Kami actually provides many amazing ways for students to communicate their understanding and learning to us. One of the easiest ways is, well, video and voice comments, they're not just for teachers, they're for students too. So students can record a voice response, students can record a video response, and giving them the opportunity to do that in an environment that isn't, hey, turn on your camera and Zoom and answer this question, which is high stakes. This is a little bit lower stakes, and this can ease them into being comfortable with putting themselves on camera and recording their voice for others to observe. In this case, it's just you. Also, students can use the screen capture. So students can capture themselves for math. I know math teachers, I was a math teacher, you're gonna love it. They can actually show the entire process of the problem. So when you go back and watch it, you can see where the mistakes are and see where the problems in their reasoning may be. So that's awesome, but it's not just for math teachers. We're gonna see an example here of a language arts teacher who used a lot of these communication tools and gave her students the opportunity to put themselves into this document a little bit. So take a look at, from Miss Spitz, an activity she created about the King's Speech. So they were going to read the King's Speech, they're going to watch a video of the King's Speech, and then she has them answering questions, normal kind of thing for language arts, but in this question, they have to record their response. In this question, they have to do a video response. Here they have to do a screencast of a sentence that they chose to parse, and they're gonna explain their way through it. So instead of looking at something in the end where she's like, I have no clue what they did, she's actually gonna get to hear them explain the choices that they made. And then she comes down and asks them to do another voice comment here. So by giving students variety, by giving them not just the chance to write, but also the chance to speak and video their answers, they really can be empowered to show their learning and gain confidence in communicating with you. Naturally, just communicating with us isn't the only thing that we want our students to do. We would love for them to be able to communicate with each other and to collaborate on assignments. So with Kami, you can, if you're making a Kami assignment in Google Classroom, you can check off the students you want an assignment to go to and just have those students be able to edit that one document together. But if you want to empower your students, high school students, they can actually themselves just click on the share document link, copy the link so that anyone can annotate it and share it with people that they're working in a group with, and they can all edit that together. And then because everyone's logged in with Google as they're working on this, you will see who added what to that document as the teacher. So this is a nice way to let students collaborate with each other independently and show them this so that it's not just you guiding them, but them working collaboratively on a document together. Also, imagine if you could have your students not just collaborate in real time, but collaborate asynchronously as well. In this example, students are asked to create an asynchronous conversation. Just imagine if I said, okay, partner A, you're gonna take all the odd numbers and you're gonna record the question. Partner B, you're gonna take all the even numbers and you're gonna record the question. And then tomorrow, you guys are gonna come back and record the responses. So then maybe I'll throw them into Zoom breakout room and they're gonna listen back to make sure everything sounded okay and make any corrections together. Or maybe it's just gonna stay an asynchronous, ask and answer. But either way, they're collaborating with classmates, talking back and forth in this world language example. And you are the one guiding that, but they are the ones that are working together and they're showing their learning to each other. And that's a different way for them to process as they are making meaning in your class and your content. Throughout this presentation, I've been showing you examples from high school teachers in my district and items that I've made myself. And I just want to give a shout out to these teachers because they have made amazing lessons where they have focused on putting themselves into the lesson and they have focused on letting their students shine through as well. So thank you very much, teachers. You have really helped with this presentation and demonstrating to other high school teachers out there how Kami can make teaching and learning better during a pandemic. If you want to continue this conversation and connect about these topics, please look for me on Twitter at @STEeducates. Use the hashtag KamiConnect so that we can continue our awesome conversation. Thanks for joining me for Get Yourself into Kami. I hope that you found some practical and useful ways to use Kami to connect with your students.